Well, we want to also update you on another race. This is in South Texas. Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar narrowly winning a recount against AOC-backed challenger Jessica Cisneros. The result seen as a setback for progressives. Here to talk about it is former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Good to have you here. Here's what Cisneros said last night. Call for number 2. I am so grateful for the leap of faith so many of you took on this underdog race. I look forward to keep fighting for a more progressive and accountable Democratic Party and work to turn Texas blue next November. She was the challenger to Cuellar. She was not successful, but they came pretty close, Mr. Speaker. They came pretty close.
Well, look, I think it tells you a lot about the modern, very left-wing Democratic Party, that Cuellar is the last Democrat who's pro-life in the U.S. House. A party which had been historically about 50-50 has over the last 20 years become totally committed to abortion. And that's part of why he had so much support against him from around the country. He has very strong local roots. He continues to survive. But it does tell you a lot about the politics of the Democratic Party that he is literally the last pro-life Democrat in the U.S. House of Representatives.
A lot of Republicans thought if that Cisneros was the candidate, they could defeat her in November. But this, we'll see what happens with Cuellar now back in pole position. Meanwhile, further west in Nevada, there's a suggestion there that Democrats in that state by the thousands are dropping their registration with the Democratic Party and joining Republicans. What do you know about that?
Well, I know that people in Nevada have a very strong anger about how the governor handled COVID. The economy's never fully recovered. We have a very, very strong candidate in Black Salt, the former Attorney General, running for the U.S. Senate. We have strong candidates at every level, including the sheriff who's running for governor. I think Nevada is going to be one of the states that has the biggest shift towards Republicans. And remember, whatever the polling data is like, what matters in the end is who's willing to show up and vote. And what we're seeing, what we saw in that South Texas special election recently, is the Democrats just collapsed. They wouldn't go out and vote. We had one county that swung 38 percentage points from Democrat to Republican in the special about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So I think that you're seeing this happen. I think Nevada is going to be similar. And Latinos in particular have really dramatically rejected the kind of woke approach to racist, transsexual, 37 or 55 different pronouns. All that stuff goes over very badly in the Latino community, and they're practical. You go out and you buy gasoline and you say it ain't working. You try to go and buy baby food and you say it ain't working. Just go down the list. And the number of people who now figure out that big government socialism doesn't work grows every single week because they feel the pain personally.
Let's just put it for everybody up on the board. Call for number 3. This is the balance of power in the House right now. Democrats at 220, Republicans at 210. Now that we have a lot of these primaries in the books, and I know we have some redrawn districts, so we don't precisely know if all of these are going to turn out in the Republicans' favor, obviously. But as you read the tea leaves looking to November, based on what we've seen in the last few weeks, what do you think will happen in November in the midterms?
Well, assuming for a moment that Biden sticks with his left-wing anti-oil, anti-gas policy, and assuming they remain as incompetent as they have been and as far to the left. I mean, the border is not uncontrolled because they're incompetent. The border is uncontrolled because they want it to be. The criminals, as you just saw in your report from Los Angeles, criminals aren't on the street by accident. Criminals are on the street because George Soros has been spending money to elect very left-wing district attorneys who refuse to lock up dangerous people. If all of that continues, then Kevin McCarthy will be Speaker. Mitch McConnell will be Majority Leader. In the House, the margin will be somewhere between 25 and 70 seat gain, depending on exactly what happens. And remember, if you have a county that swings 38 points, you have no idea what's going to happen around the country because you don't know how people are going to feel. I think they're going to get madder, not happier. And I think particularly if a recession begins to build, as people keep predicting, and if the Federal Reserve keeps raising the interest rates, which, by the way, the largest borrower in the world is the U.S. government. So you raise the interest rates, the degree to which paying the interest on the debt starts to crowd out everything else in the federal budget, itself becomes an enormous problem, probably by October.
Be some drama in November. Sir, thank you for your time.
You.
We'll speak soon. Newt Gingrich, thank you.
Great. Glad to do it.